Decisions about where to place the camera were important for ensuring that the action would be comprehensible to the viewer. The edges of the image created a frame around the events depicted. Objects or figures in the center tended to be more noticeable. Methods of framing the action changed after 1908. In order to convey the psychology of the characters, for example, filmmakers began to put the camera slightly closer to the actors so that their facial expressions would be more visible. This trend seems to have started about 1909, when the 9-foot line was introduced. This meant that the camera, instead of being 12 or 16 feet back and showing the actors from head to toe, was placed only 9 feet away, cutting off the actors just below the hips. Some reviewers complained that this looked unnatural and inartistic, but others praised the acting in films by Vitagraph, which pioneered this technique. Griffith in particular explored the possibilities of enlarging facial expressions. In early 1912, he began training his talented group of young actresses, including Lillian Gish, Blanche Sweet, Mae Marsh, and Mary Pickford, to register a lengthy series of emotions using only slight gestures and facial changes. An early result of these experiments was The Painted Lady in 1912, a tragic story of a demure young woman who is courted by a man who turns out to be a thief. After she shoots him during a robbery attempt, she goes mad and relives their romance and fantasy. Throughout much of The Painted Lady, Griffith places the camera relatively close to the heroine, framing her from the waist up so her slightest expressions and movements are visible. During the early teens, conventional pantomime gestures continued to be used, but were more restrained and were increasingly used in combination with facial expressions. Another technique of framing that changed during this period was the use of high and low camera angles. In early fiction films, the camera usually viewed the action at a level angle, about chest or waist high. By about 1911, however, filmmakers began occasionally to frame the action from slightly above or below, when doing so provided a more effective vantage point on the scene. During these same years, camera tripods with swiveling heads were introduced. With such tripods, the camera could be turned from side to side to make pan shots or swiveled up and down to create tilts. Tilts and pans were often used to make slight adjustments or reframings when the figures moved about. This ability to keep the action centered also enhanced the comprehensibility of scenes.